What's shaking, Bacon?
What's up, man? Welcome back to another Pointless Automotive Podcast.
Yes, we are back
Cheers
in the flesh. Salute. Yeah, we're back in action.
Back at it, in the shop.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I totally was deep into Duke Nukem.
Yeah?
When I was in like middle school.
Okay, so Duke Nukem 3D.
Yeah, Duke Nukem 3D for sure. It was a high quality. Good for the one-liners. And the, shake it, baby.
They always tried to recapture that magic with that series, and it was just horrible.
Well, do you remember when they were talking about making a Duke Nukem movie?
I remember that, and I remember
the rumor was they were going to cast Howie Long as Duke.
That would have been interesting.
Exactly. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum.
They tried to. I mean, the closest thing to that humor that ever. Because that was a line taken from They Live, which is an amazing film in itself. John Carpenter, classic. Yeah, man.
Well, what about cars?
What about them?
Not a lot of cars in that, but cars are things that we've had and we continue to have.
Yes.
I would argue too many between the two of us.
This is true.
And I know it is, what is today? Today, the time of this recording is the 22nd of March.
That's right.
And recently, being the powers that be of Subaru, just announced the death of a really kind of a cool car, a classic, a modern icon.
Yeah, Fuji Heavy Industries still.
That's right. Fuji
right.
Heavy Industries is no longer making their heavy hitter in their sports rally sedan, the Subaru WRX STI.
STI. I love it when I say STI around a non-car person and they
talk about an infection.
Yeah, yes. So I'm like, I really want an STI, and they're like, I'm the one for you, big boy.
Exactly. Yeah. They're those are a thing. Bug catchers.
Yeah.
They're people. They go around and they want to catch like all of the different bugs, so to speak.
What's the highest form of that? The ones that want babies?
What do you mean?
Like the baby is the greatest STI.
Oh, I guess. I mean, that's more of a parasite, I think, than an infection.
Yeah, it's a bang trophy. For
sure.
Called that.
Exactly. Yeah. As is AIDS. But the Subaru STI is not a sexually transmitted infection. Was it Subaru Technical? Or is it
Technica
International. But it is no longer. They are
super sad about
the
this.
EJ is finally dying off.
I think we figured out why they never changed the 2.5 liter engine, right? They're like, this thing's gonna die one of these years.
Yeah, just keep printing nearly 20 years down the line, and we'll
copy paste print.
Which is a shame, because it's I get why there's probably several reasons it doesn't make sense for them to continue to produce it. Like from a business standpoint.
Sure.
I think if they got really creative and they really wanted to make it profitable and make it something, they could, but that's not the route they've chose to go. I feel
the WRX, which has evolved quite a bit since 2002 when it was first sold here in the States anyway.
It's closed the gap.
Yeah, each iteration it's gotten a better engine, a bigger engine, more horsepower, and the STI has kind of stayed pretty much the same, which is kind of a flag when you look back. It's just the STI got heavier.
It got heavier, and as you said, the gap between the WRX and the STI was closing with each generation. I mean, you look back to 2004 when it launched. You got the big power bump, right? Because you went from 227 to 305, I believe.
Yeah, right around 3. Yep.
You had a 6-speed versus the WRX had the 5-speed,
which was the biggest performance difference.
Obviously, the special interior, the blue carpet,
Torsen diff,
seats, the Torsen diff. You had the
bigger
you got HIDs versus you didn't in the WRX.
Bigger hood scoop, bigger wing.
Yep, dedicated intercooler. You had it was a 2.5 instead of the 2 liter.
True.
And then versus now, let's say they just said, okay, the new STI, and it's the exact same formula as before.
Which would be expected.
Well, the WRX is nipping at its heels in power.
Yep.
It now has a 6-speed.
Yep.
It would almost be just like a power. It would almost be like a power bump in a trim level package. It's just like a submodel.
Yeah.
But
they could have been inching it up too, right? That's the thing. They chose not to. The writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
Subaru. We just didn't see it. I mean, we kind of saw it.
We kind of saw
The
it.
joke is it's the same EJ 2.5 it's always been.
Right, and it kind of is. I mean, it's not, but it is.
I like that engine.
Oh, it's good.
It's a solid, stout engine. It takes power okay. It's not a 4G63 or anything. It did outlive the Evo, which I think is an accomplishment, right? Like,
it did, and it's almost completely outlived Mitsubishi in general, at least in North America.
Right.
But yeah, it's a shame because I know I've owned 1.5 Subarus.
Yeah.
You've been a Subaru fan in the past.
I've had 5.5.
You've had 5.5.
Yep.
And so yeah, I'm partial to Subaru. And what do you think it's going to do to like all the older STIs that are floating out there now? Do you think it's going to? You think it's not going to affect the prices? You think it's going to crank them up? You think it was going to go up regardless? What are your thoughts there?
It's kind of wild because I think when the Evo did the final edition, and after that sold, all the old Evo prices started going up, and they still are really high. Comparison, like an Evo from the same year as an STI is way more expensive.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, right? Because Subaru's still kicking
Yeah.
pretty good. So I think we're going to see an STI price jump.
I think we will. I think it's going to take time, and I think the only one you're going to see it on is going to be the first two iterations. So
Yeah.
all of that
Blob-eye, Hawkeye.
the Blob-eye and the Hawkeye. I think those are the only ones that are really going to see a bump because the ones after that are all kind of worse iterations of those original ones, at least from a technical standpoint.
The hatch was
They
really
got a
well
little
received.
heavier. It was, but it's certainly uglier, I think.
It doesn't look, the first
It's not
generation.
really as iconic.
What was it, 08? The first hatch STI kind of was not that
Yeah.
different from the WRX, and then they tweaked it, made it better. I agree. I think Blob-eye or Hawkeye. That's all you care about. That's all you should care about.
Yeah, especially if you're going, World Rally Blue, gold rims.
Blue interior.
Yeah, that blue interior, all
Yep.
those. And so those are the ones that are iconic. They're not going to get any cheaper, certainly.
No,
And
they're still a good buy, man. They're still like 15 to 20K.
Well, that's because it was still like, what would you, you and I aside, let's say you're Joe Blow's new Subaru purchaser guy.
Yeah.
And you can spend $35 for a clean, say, 07 Hawkeye,
Okay.
right? Moderate miles, right? Let's say 85,000 miles, okay? Or spend like a little bit more and buy a brand spanking new one with a warranty, that you can finance cheaper and easier, newer safety and newer UI and tech. For a lot of people, I think that, if there were huge changes over the years, I think it might have had those values of the earlier ones maybe go up, but because it hasn't, the earlier ones, they're lighter, they're more tossable, they're more sprightly.
Yeah.
And if that's what you're looking for, you spend the money and get that one. If you're not, which is a lot of potential new car buyer, they'll go buy a new one.
Yeah, but you can get a Blob-eye or a Hawkeye for like 20K, a decent one with some mileage. But the STIs kind of creeped up in price. They were in like the mid 40s for option ones. Recently.
Really, really clean, low mileage ones.
That's wild.
Yeah, and which would be about the same price as go buy a 21 or a 20, right? And you have got kind of the same car, not the same car, but kind of. Like I would much rather have the early one. I think that's always going to be the one to have.
I agree. Yeah.
What are production numbers on those? Like 04s and 05s? I don't think they're huge.
I don't think they're huge either, and I think they're definitely
on the fly.
It works with mods. There's less clean stock examples for sure, right? I think that's the challenge is scooping one that someone hasn't. Every Subaru, and the turbo Subarus are pretty reliable if you keep them stocked.
Yeah. They don't have the same gasket issues as the earlier ones.
Yeah, and I hate to use the stages because it's so overplayed.
Right.
But a stage 2 or less, which is just like a downpipe and maybe a slight tune, exhaust, things like that. They're still reliable as hell.
No, they are. Yeah, there's some stuff. The 6 speeds were pretty stout. The 5
Really
speeds,
stout.
the earlier ones had kind of a knock on for being delicate. I never experienced that. I had a 2002, an early production 2002. The build date on it was April of 01.
Okay.
So very early production 2002 sedan, and I got rid of it 156,000, I think, on it.
Yep.
And no, at clutch chatter. It was on the original factory clutch still.
And it chattered?
Yeah, the whole time I owned it. I bought it at like 85,000, and I got rid of it at 156. I only had it 3 years. I put a boatload of miles on it, and always clutch chatter, especially cold. It would have some clutch chatter. I ran redline fluid in it, and it was much happier.
Yep.
Other than that, yeah, I had no. It was
very
reliable.
Yeah, my O2, I think it was higher. I think it was around 160, and it had a little bit of third gear grind, which is pretty common with that trans.
Yeah,
that's if it's been driven hard, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, there was time that I drove it. I drove it in college, so it's not like I wasn't straight up abusive, but I ran it through its paces. And I had a Cobb. It was an O2. It had the 0607 Hawkeye 17-inch wheels on it.
Okay.
It's a silver sedan with the wing.
Right.
And it had a Cobb Access Sport Stage 1.
Oh, you had the sedan.
I had the sedan.
Yeah, I had the wagon.
I had the wagon and the Saab. I had the 05 Saab 92X.
Yeah, that was my half too.
Yeah, black with the black and ivory leather. And then it was a sunroof car, heated seats, HIDs.
Same, mine was silver though, so it was like silver with the same package.
Yeah, but no, very reliable. I did tell you about water pump. I did a radiator. That's it.
Yeah.
And then I bumped into the dude who bought it from me like a couple years later, and he had like 200,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you ever do that clutch? He's like, no, it's starting to slip though. So 200-something thousand miles.
That's perfectly normal. Yeah.
So a really good car. And then before I get too far out,
let's hear those numbers.
Guess just for 04.
Jeez.
And this is allegedly from somebody from Subaru of America.
And this is for U.S. sales?
Subaru of America. So yeah, 2004. Okay. And it's funny, it actually breaks it down between gold wheels and silver wheels, which is interesting that they have that. That's how they broke it down. But guess the total between the two.
I feel like 04 is going to be the lowest. I think 04 is going to be the lowest. I'm going to say something like 10 to 12,000 units.
7210.
Okay.
So 2,783 units with gold wheels, 4,427 with silver wheels.
Okay.
So allegedly 7,200, which is
pretty low.
It's pretty low. It's not insane, but it's pretty low. And how many of those are in the trash can right now?
Turned into rally cars.
At least 50% of them.
Yeah,
probably at this point.
At least. Yeah, because the 04s were they were Spartan, man. You could get that without a radio, without AC. All those were possible options, which was cool. And 05 kind of chunked it out a little bit.
Yeah, because 04 it had a 04 specific steering wheel, and it had the smaller 5 on 100 bolt pattern.
Right.
Which was only in 04. 05, they got it only, because the WRX had the smaller bolt pattern, and then in 05, the STI's got the bigger 514.3.
Yeah, that's why I went on 05, slightly better. I know they did some suspension tweaks too.
Yeah, they just changed I think the shock dampening and all that.
The sway,
inverted front struts. Yeah.
The problem is I've never owned an STI. It came pretty close, Legacy Spec B. So I got the 6-speed, I got the Torsen, I got the aluminum.
2.5-liter.
Yeah, the aluminum control arms. That stuff was straight out of an STI.
The gentleman's STI.
Yeah, it was. So that's the closest I ever got. So I do want to own a legit STI. Definitely gotta get.
Yeah, like chlamydia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a car.
I mean,
a car would be good too.
Check one of those off.
Gentlemanly. I wonder what the most gentlemanly STD is. Syphilis. But with only 7210, if you find a really clean one. I mean, that's not... That car, that car is destined to... Everything, it's funny because everything of the early to mid 2000s is right on the precipice of being worth a ton of money. Some stuff has already kind of creeped up. Like the secret's out on 6-speed V8 Audi R8s and stuff like that. They're not astronomical yet, but you used to be able to, you could pick one up not that long ago for probably mid 50s. And good luck now. But some stuff, a lot of it's not there. I think STIs, Evo 9s, there's value there, but they're going to go higher.
Those Evos, man. I've wanted to get one. I definitely want a 9 MR.
Yeah.
To keep it pretty much stock, but it's astronomical right now.
What if 10s are ever going to get that?
They did. They got pretty cheap. I know the MRs are really cheap, but because they had transmission issues, those were all
the dual clutch.
Yeah. So you can get a GSRs are starting to creep up now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the 10s, man. I love how they look, and apparently the handling's out of this world. I've driven a stock one, and I thought it was fine.
Yeah, but not.
Yeah, I guess when you tune them, they get a little pretty aggressive. But I don't like a 4B11 was the engine designation.
Yeah,
Just, give me a Ford G63, man.
yeah. It's
I'll take some Mivec.
time honored.
Give me an Evo.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I've ridden one. I've never actually driven an Evo of any ilk. And you know, it's your typical Spartan Lancer interior and stuff like that, which is fine. But I don't know. It's interesting. And now, what do you think? What do you think the future holds?
Ooh, for the STI?
For the STI, do you think they're going to bring back? Do you think there's going to be an STE?
Yeah,
it's going to be E-electric,
I think that's it.
or like some sort of a dual clutch hybrid thing.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't become like a Outlander or something. Like come back as a crossover.
But I mean, do you think they would do maybe, a sports sedan or maybe like a sport wagony thing, where maybe it would make sense with their kind of image and branding?
God, Subaru's bread and butter is what? Outbacks and Crosstreks.
And Foresters.
Right?
Yeah.
That's all it is right now.
It is, but they still came out and, the fact that there is a WRX still, and it shares nothing really with any other in the Impreza line, makes me think that it's got a chance to come back. Maybe they're going to do the new coat, old coat thing, where the STI is dead, and then after like 2 model years, it'll come back different. Like they won't call it the STI, but maybe they'll call it the whatever, the WRE, electrified, because that's where everything's going, right? Is some sort of electrification, whether it's pure EV or whether it's like a performance hybrid, like Lexus tried to pioneer with like the GS 450H and stuff.
Yep.
I don't know.
I could see it coming back. I think maybe that'll be like their flagship platform for like launch electric. Like, because they're going to electrify their entire. Didn't they say like a certain year?
I mean, who hasn't said that?
Yeah, I know.
Like Morgan, I think is the only quote unquote manufacturer that hasn't come out and said like.
Has Porsche said that? I don't think Porsche will do a full electric lineup. I don't think they will.
I mean, I don't think they will until their hand is forced, and even if they do, I can see them. Did they purchase a controlling interest in Singer? Or did they? I know they're doing stuff where they're making some engines for Singer, so I can see maybe they're inching that way. So if they go, hey, Volkswagen Audi Group, the powers that be are going to make us for CAFE or whatever EU regulations or whatever, are going to make us BEV.
Right.
Now we own Singer, and now this is going to be like a boutique gas car for multimillionaires and whatnot, which was what Singer is right now.
I feel like Porsche is like one of the few companies that like really communicates with their buyers. Like they're like, you guys want a flat 6-pack? Here you go. You guys want manuals in the sport edition?
I mean,
here you go.
That's the whole story with them, right? Is that we're gonna axe the 911 after the SC or whatever, and then the whole boardroom meeting,
right? The 928 is supposed to crush, like get rid of the 9.
And what's the whole Leo Blythe's tale where like the new guy took over and he walked into the sales room where they had like drawn the lifespan of the 911 ending in like 1982, and he went like full Wolf of Wall Street and took a piece of chalk and like drew it off the chalkboard like it's not ending. I'm coming back. And then all the engineers in the boardroom, throwing their panties at him and stuff, and it was just the whole thing. I mean, that's the old wives' tale. And so they're definitely prone to doing that.
Subaru's got a little bit of that in them too. Like I feel like, because like you said, WRX is still being made in a market where how many
with a manual,
with a manual, and it's still a performance car. It's not getting more fuel economy minded. It's getting more power.
It's getting kind of going to get like 2 horsepower.
Bigger displacement, man. There's no replacement for displacement.
This is true, except for turbo.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think we're for companies that are still trying to have some classically thought of performance ilk.
Yeah.
I think the next 5-ish years are going to be incredibly interesting. On just to see how this is going to go, because every manufacturer wants to do the part of the EV movement and get a piece of that pie, and anyone who's looking to buy a new vehicle is looking at something that's, not getting terrible fuel economy, and that's ultimately what's going to move the game is the bean counters.
Yeah,
are going to rule the day. So it'll be really interesting to see how they, marry that, whether it's performance EVs like we talked about a number of episodes ago or what. But I think the loss of the STI is kind of a sign for what there is to be, and I will be really interested, because I feel like they not have to, but I think they will replace it with something. I just think it's not going to be
Yeah.
Not your grandfather's.
Who knows?
Like, it'll be a different...
They could be phasing it out, but yeah, we hope it comes back. You know what would help us with the decision? Like
The 8-ball?
Ooh, you want to give it a shake? What do you think? Is it coming back as an electric iteration?
Ooh, okay.
STI.
The STI. The STE electrified. What is this? This says, oh boy, what's this saying? Concentrate and ask again.
Yeah, you gotta focus.
We'll have to save that for another episode then. We're gonna leave that up in the air. The 8-ball is spoken.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think I have a feeling that's what's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be on a new platform. It's gonna be still sporty, but yeah, full electric.
Either full electric, or I can see it being like maybe like a plug-in hybrid where like it'll be similar to like the WRX, but maybe like an integrated motor assist.
You know what's funny is
hybrids
interesting,
like a almost like a torque fill, like a low torque fill with a plug-in EV, and it gives like a WRX like a 65 horsepower bump, pure electric bump, but then you can go like 15 miles on only EV if you wanted to. It would probably lose the manual, which would be a shame. But Subaru likes to push their new, what is it, the CVT that they refuse to call the CVT? Is it the Subaru Performance Transmission?
It's a pretty good CVT. I had one on my 2015 XT Forester in it.
But I think even the new one is supposed to be, because
is it?
They were probably the WRX, the limited WRX you could only get with they refused to call it the CVT because the CVT got such a bad rap. They're calling it the Subaru Performance Transmission.
Oh man.
Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what Subaru's got for us.
I know, because we both like Subarus, and we both
do.
own Subarus. We've had good experiences with Subarus, and we would like to continue to have good performance.
Yeah, I want it to be weird and quirky again.
Sure.
You know, maybe some
make
like,
Subaru weird again.
Yeah, and I think the thing is hybrids, man, is technologically advanced. I think hybrids are like amazing, right? It's the best of both worlds. You get the improved fuel economy. Yeah, you're still running on fuel, which we've cast as like a negative, archaic thing nowadays. But this car literally gets better fuel economy, uses fuel, uses electric, and you don't have range anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. But I think right now manufacturers are still making hybrids because it's a band-aid. Not everybody's ready to make that electric leap, nor is the infrastructure in place to support a full electric.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode. That's a whole other can of worms.
I don't know. I think a full electric STI is
could be.
Yeah,
could be. I'd like to see it. I think that could be really cool. As long as they don't try and like force it to have 500 miles of range and weigh 4,800 pounds.
Oh, and lift it up like a crossover.
That's
game over. Right?
It's actually the new Hummer.
If it's an Outlander rebadged with a Subaru symbol. Yeah, let's go buy some old STIs while we can.
We should. Yeah,
that's the takeaway.
That is the takeaway. Buy an early, clean STI. Drive it aggressively. I heard like Subaru WRXs, and I think STI would fall into that category. It's like one of the highest rates of DUIs per vehicle owner.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like that and Dodge Rams.
I can see that.
Definitely, I can see the most like vape clouds per minute, and most monsters crushed per hour is going to be coming out of the STI with the Monster Energy drink sticker in the back and
hell yeah,
pretend chem blocks. But I think what's interesting is I would like to take an STI on some sort of like a road rally because I think that would be really cool. Overland, on land.
Yeah,
road, jack of all trades.
They are well rounded. There was an episode, one of my favorite episodes of Top Gear is when Hammond picks a WRX wagon. Have you seen this one?
I don't know.
They go off-roading and all kinds of stuff, and the wagon's pulling everybody else out. Everybody's getting stuck. May and Clarkson are getting stuck, and the WRX makes it the whole way.
Boy, if only they had a Sienna all-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah,
then
it was outside the budget.
Well, what kind of road rallies, road adventures have you always been dreaming on? Whether it's like a wannabe top gear
challenge,
car crash type thing, or like organized or not organized. Like what's on your to-do list, your bucket list?
Yeah, I mean, we're all gonna die. I've come to grips with my mortality.
What?
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Just like the STI, we're all gonna die someday.
Exactly, yeah.
Hopefully not as soon.
Syphilitic. Yeah. STI.
Yeah, so I have a bucket list like we all should. And you know, I do a lot of car stuff, which I'm very lucky to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Like I don't take it for granted, I don't take it discounted at all, but it's hard to find the time to do purely fun automotive stuff, right?
Very
we went
true.
off-roading, which was an absolute blast.
Sure.
So that's one of those check boxes. But I've got some big things. One of them, endurance racing.
Yeah, that's one. Like, I've literally purchased cars to do it, and it never had come to fruition for all of the possible reasons in the world. But
Yeah. It's a time sink, man, because what people don't understand is, like, say lemons, for example, where you're buying...
it's only $500.
Yeah, that's it. $500. Safety equipment costs like 10 times as much. But the time to prep a race car.
Dude.
And you think you have friends that can drive. And they probably are the best drivers, but that's still
That
cool.
would be me. I'd be the not best driver.
And then you have
Yes.
friends that think they can wrench. Yeah, they do their own oil changes.
Right,
It's like,
exactly.
you know, you're doing like some repairs in the middle of this race that you wouldn't believe, like on a
Yeah.
time crunch in a bad situation.
JD Weld involved.
Yeah, you need to have like this combo of race driving experience and mechanic know-how. I just always wanted to do it. I love the thought of it. It's not a race of speed, it's a race about how many laps you can do. So it's all about reliability, right?
Yeah,
Your
slow and
ability to keep your crap on the road, right?
Yes.
So to me, I've always wanted to do that. I've never found the time. We need to do it.
We do.
We're not getting any younger.
We do. You know what's funny is that, so I remember, I haven't looked into any of like how to do that anymore. Like I wanted to do lemons way
Sure.
back in the day, like 10 plus years ago, when it was kind of on the come up, and then it got really, really popular to the point where like you almost had to know someone to be able to get in.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still like that. I feel like the hype has died off a little bit. It's probably not nearly that difficult. And at the time it was Lemon, and then Chump Car had just started.
Still both are popular.
My understanding is like Chump Car actually purchased the naming rights to actually the Champ Car series.
Oh wow.
So now it's not even Chump Car, it's Champ Car.
It's more legit.
So yeah, because Champ Car went out of business, and so Chump Car bought the rights to Champ Car. So now it is Champ Car.
That's extra funny.
So I don't know if that's still easier, but yeah, I mean it would be difficult to find like a crew and all that. And I feel like we'd have to go, because there's two ways you can do it, right? You can go either like, hey, let's be competitive and find like a clapped out Miata, and put something interesting.
Used to be
engine
these
in.
guys.
Yeah, the E30s, which now they're hopefully not out there anymore because they're too valuable. But there's, so you can do that and try and be fast and competitive and reliable, or you can go index of effluency.
Yeah.
And try and go, you know, I remember back in the day when I was looking at doing it, I found a cheap, like 88 BMW 750 IL that had like bad, they were selling it for like $800 because it had bad valve guide seals, and so it smoked really bad on startup for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh, I don't care.
I'm
Just
not going to
strip that
finish
thing
5
out.
laps.
Strip that thing out, just put like some enormous, just like literally convert the air conditioning condenser to a humongous transmission cooler, keep the transmission alive, and then just go. I assume that you can probably get the rear diff out of like a 5 series or like maybe a 635. It's probably a way lower. It's not the gear ratio.
Yeah.
You can do that, and then you've got and just straight pipe the thing.
You know they don't allow you to leave oil slicks. That's the only problem with driving an old 7 Series BMW.
Well, if you just find every single gasket and just a bead of JB Weld around every single.
I'm just picturing myself doing that for like 2 months, just like every seal getting replaced on that engine.
No, you don't replace it. You just from the outside, you just hermetically seal. You just you get a kiddie pool and affix it to the underside of the car to catch the juices and berries.
Have a sump pump,
clean the creek.
pushing it back through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the over-the-top PCD system.
I loved it because I always pictured like the old SERs would be perfect because they got really cheap, but not anymore. But not anymore. But yeah, the SR20 engine just would keep going.
Yeah, AW11 MR2s.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that stuff.
Even crap boxes like Escort GTs and that Mercury Tracer would have been fantastic because they would just keep going.
Yeah.
It might not be the fastest per lap, but you know you're not going to stop.
Yeah.
You're just going to keep going.
Yeah.
So
it would be kind of fun to push the boundaries. Like, what would be potentially the least reliable thing? Like, remember some of the early builds that people would do where somebody got like a second gen MR2 and put a radial aircraft engine from like a World War II plane that he found.
Which is awesome. A lot of people ran like Fieros and things like that weren't going to finish the race. Like I just want to finish.
Motorcycle engine swaps.
I would want to be competitive enough to finish. That's all my goal would be. Because there's something about completing the race that's just and my competitive nature would kick in for driving. So I don't, I think people do like fudge the numbers a little bit in those events. You see people show up.
But it depends. Like if you fudge the numbers with like I don't know. Yeah, a Miata with
someone comes in with their spec Miata with like everything's still on it for spec Miata except they like rusted it up.
They Rust-Oleum spray painted over like victory.
It's a $20,000 race car. Yeah, I got it for like $300.
Yeah, my uncle. Yeah, no, that would be good. Yeah,
you could do a Z3 or something in the roll cage.
You could. Boy, I don't know. Like I feel like I'd get like claustrophobic after. I mean, you're changing up drivers, you're not doing 24 straight. But.
Yeah, like I said, I'd aim for those old crappy crap boxes that I love, like those old like a Beretta or something. Yeah, Escort GT would be awesome. Something like, but something with like a reliable engine and trans. That's all that really matters at the end.
Yeah, I think if you get like a Protege 5 with a manual.
Those are cheap too.
Those are cheap, and they're pretty stout,
pretty lightweight. Especially gutted. I bet that thing's pretty light.
Yeah.
But that's my first bucket list item, and we should make that happen.
Okay.
I'm kind of holding you to this list too.
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
Well, informal contract.
Catch us at episode 1456 when we finally make it to.
I thought you were gonna go 420 just for the sake of it.
Hey.
High endurance.
24-hour, yeah.
How about you?
24-hour endurance race every day.
I know you've got a bucket list you have yet to cross items off.
So when I was going to my and your favorite local East Bay Community College, Diablo Valley College, in sunny, beautiful Pleasant Hill, California. Right when I started going, so this would have been 2002. I was still daily driving my Barracuda.
Yeah,
my daily drive. And I drove in one day, and some guy came running up to me in like a lowered like 70s like Dodge Prospector van.
Oh,
right, short box lowered van on like Kragers. He comes running up to me, and he's like, "Bro, dude, tell me about your car." Okay, so I was talking to him. He's like, "Okay, so he's like, I'm in this. I think it's like a 2-day road rally that me and some people I know do, and it's only like 70s and older cars. I don't know, remember? I think it was like 79 and older.
Okay.
And he's like, it was all about having fun. It's mostly a lot of European cars, you know, like Alphas and 2002s and Porsche 912s.
Cool.
He's like, we like really kind of quirky stuff, and your car would be like great. Like you should like consider this a formal invitation to go on this what they call the California Melee.
Okay. Wow.
Which is somewhat well known. It's not super well known. It's not like Cannonball Run style, but it's worth. And I think they go up and down the coast, and it's like a 2-day thing. You go up to like all the way up Mendocino Coast. You start at like I think Fort Baker.
Okay.
Or not Fort Baker. Sorry.
Fort Bragg.
No, what's the one in San Francisco? I can't think of.
Presidio,
like in the Presidio.
Right on the bridge there.
Yeah. So you start there, and then you go out all the way up the coast, like way up top Mendocino Coast, and then everyone stays at some no-tell motel and gets drunk in the parking lot, and then comes back the next day.
South to north.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And then back down south again.
Beautiful up there, right?
And it's just like, people's cars break down, and they help each other fix it, and like it's a whole thing, and it's just like honor among thieves, and like you kind of have to like know people to get in. It's like, I'm inviting you. It's like, sit. And then fast forward a few months later, like my wiring harness melted into a ball of goo.
And should have saved it for the race.
I know, right? Exactly. And so I never made it, and I haven't even followed up on really whatever happened. I know it's still a thing.
Yeah.
Like last I looked, like several years ago, the only way you can like read about it was like they had like a Yahoo chat group or something like super antiquated to like keep up with it and be involved in it. I don't know if that like 1979 cutoff has now moved because the world has moved on 20 years since when I was invited to go to it. I suspect that it probably kind of has, but I would really like to go on it because it was lighthearted, some aggressive driving, older cars, and I think it would just be a shit ton of fun. I want to do it now. I'm all geeked up. I haven't thought about it forever, so
we should look into it. They probably have a Facebook group now.
Yeah, they've probably upgraded to what all boomers are now using, which is Facebook.
Yeah, after we all got caught in the AIM rooms by TCAP, we had to move on.
Exactly.
To Facebook groups.
Yeah. I'm not man day 2004 at all. The interesting thing is, because what was even before that? People were using like news groups or like
IRC, IRC.
Yeah, definitely IRC. I remember that. I do.
Smoke signals before that.
You said carrier pigeons.
Crows.
How about you? Do you have any other anything else you want to jump on to do from that road?
That's one of them. I want to go on one of those overlanding adventures.
Yeah.
Like through Alaska, through one of those like those old adventure those old adventure routes that explorers or like prospectors used to use. I think that was so cool. Where you pack all your shit. You have like 2 weeks. You have to survive on whatever you brought with you. Your vehicle's got to be like well-rounded as an overlander. You got to have a place to sleep. You've got to have.
You're talking like straight up like the peaking the Paris.
Absolutely. Yeah, where you're just like living out of your vehicle. No,
so bad. Like
no resupply. No, just straight up in the bush for 2 weeks.
No comment. But what I do know is.
Was that a flashback to the 80s?
Exactly. You mean my birth?
I mean, it's coming back.
Exactly.
I'm a little afraid of it.
I didn't think I can think back to like actual birth, but so no, but like what I was gonna say is I think like I kind of have like imposter syndrome like doing this. Like a podcast about cars.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like barely qualified to pull this off.
We're not qualified.
I know I am not nearly qualified to do the fucking peaking of Paris or the ilk. Because that is like heavy duty.
Right.
Like you're trans-Pacific shipping a car and doing it. But, it's kind of the pinnacle of badassery.
Yeah.
Just
what you pull from that and then...
there's people that do like lifted 240Zs and do all kinds of just genuinely badass things.
But think of the love and appreciation for your vehicle that helps you get through that. Like even taking my Land Cruiser out in the off-road park was the first time I really tested it. I was like, holy shit, this thing can legitimately go anywhere.
Exactly.
What it is, and it's comfy. I just want to do that. I want to push it to the limit and see if you can do it.
Yeah.
Boy, that's just something I want to do.
What would you try and go like overlanding, like true overlanding rig, like your Land Cruiser?
Yeah.
Or would you try and like say like I'm gonna make it spicier, like a lifted 240Z or something?
I mean, it's already spicy enough as it is. So I'd still have to do some work to my rig because it's still a work in progress, right?
Yeah.
I'd have to sink some more cash into that. I'd take that and then I'd maybe do a shorter, fun one with something more. Like a safari Porsche.
Do like the Gambler 500 or something like that. I've got that on my list.
Yes, that's a little
which is a much way less hairy.
Yeah.
More like day drinking, right the moment that you get to camp
and I still love
and like party and do that thing. It's more of a party scene on wheels.
Don't get me wrong, I still love that, but it's something about like really pushing yourself to the limit in your rig and just getting out there and just.
Like you literally have to like take a GPS phone with you so like you don't die.
That's all you have. Yeah, extra fuel because you're gonna run out of fuel out there. It's epic, man. I really want to go on something that really pushes and you like live in your vehicle and you go with a bunch of people and you're all pulling each other out. Like one day is all winching each other out of the mud. I just think that sounds so awesome.
Would you go 2 vehicles or just like fly solo? Like I'm gonna try and go from like Cabo San Lucas all the way to the very top of like Alaska, like all the way up.
That would be
cool. Summer.
You'd have to go with someone, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to go straight up full survivor man and try literally by yourself, like, and just go. I mean, I guess that's like the masculine version of Eat, Pray, Love, like hype the PCT, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like
it is.
That's like the butch hair on my chest version of that.
I do like that. No one can write your story because you'll be found dead in your Land Cruiser, like
Like what's that movie where the dude like sells all his possessions and lives in the bus in Alaska?
Oh my god!
It had the Pearl Jam did the soundtrack.
They had to move that bus because people were dying trying to get out there to see it.
Yeah, exactly. They like helicoptered.
Oh, I forget the name. Yeah, they got
Into the Wild.
What? Yeah. What was his
Wild?
name? Chris something. I forget his name.
Chris Hansen. Are we
going
back?
Chris. Have a seat in my bus over there.
And he can survive. You do realize this is a school bus.
Yeah. How old is this bus again?
I don't know. I just ate some mushrooms.
What'd you forget? Mike's Hard Lemonade. And do you have condoms? No, they're in my truck.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't use those. But like that would be super cool.
How cool would that be, man? And just like document it. It'd just be a blast.
Oh, it would be incredible. It's kind of the pinnacle, I think, right?
I think so. Yeah. Just self-reliance and making it work and Bringing spare parts and enough food and...
It's like, so the ultimate like fail version of that is in, I don't know what year it was, but it was like the aughts or maybe the teens.
Okay.
Like 1912 or something like that.
Oh.
Somebody organized I think it was New York to Paris rally, like winner take all, and their plan was they were going to go, you're supposed to...
It's a little wet in the middle.
A little bit. Well, the whole plan was... Well, somewhere. The plan was that they were going to go in like the dead ass of winter, because then like the Bering Strait would be frozen over and you could be like Paleolithic man.
Does it ever
drive
freeze
it over?
I don't think it freezes completely anymore.
Well, they found that out.
Yeah.
Is that it didn't. And so I think they had to modify it like way down the line.
Yeah.
And it took something like 11 and a half months or something, because there weren't roads. These were just cars like driving like 4 miles an hour like through mud and muck and small, because they decided to do it in the middle of winter.
Right.
There's a podcast called what's it called? The Dollop.
Okay.
And they're like a comedy history podcast, and they do an episode on
That's pretty cool.
It's really funny because it's just like this comedy of errors, and there's people that are like drinking and cheating, and like there's people that are taking it way too seriously, and they all fail miserably, and like people like steal parts from them, and there's like this spectacle because it's like the turn of the century. But that would be like the crazy, trying to replicate that route. Sans driving over the Bering Strait, because there are no more ice caps anymore, so you can't do that.
Global warming is a hoax, by the way.
It is. It is actually a hoax. Yeah, I think it's related to 5G. I'm not sure.
F science, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely Biden's fault. But now I think that would be the ultimate one. Is something like that, like go Baja to, or what's the one where you go like literally like tip of Alaska all the way down to like, is it Cape of Good Hope? At like
all the way, through all of Central and South America.
Boy, if I was gonna do that, I would feel like doing something like super clapped out looking, so like you don't get like turned into sausage by like.
Well, that's a double-edged sword, because if it really is clapped out, you are going to stall somewhere where you're going to be made into sausage.
No, it just has to look clapped out.
Oh,
like,
okay.
So you don't get
faux clapped out.
Yeah,
it's coming
back.
back. Yeah, it's coming back.
But yeah, that's a good one. And I had on my list. I've got the Gambler 500.
Yeah.
But I think yours is like the more hair on your chest, so to speak.
You gotta start somewhere, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe that's it. Maybe we take a Suzuki Grand Vitara through the Gambler 500, and then from there we go.
That'd be a pretty damn good car for it, right?
That would be.
Is it a manual or auto?
I have no idea.
Either way.
For those that weren't listening to us before we started recording, I might have a line on a mildly abused Suzuki Grand Vitara.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Tie your motors down. I know you all got excited.
Exactly. Clean up your pants now. Grand Vitara, but
not a Vitara.
I don't know.
Grand.
Oh, it's very quite grand. Grand, not gland. But that would be the name of it though. If we ran it through Gambler, the gland Vitara. So yeah, that would be a good one. One other one, and talking about going like north to south, south to north, I'd like to just take some nice handling car.
Yeah.
Maybe this Miata over here, maybe an E30, maybe an S2000.
Ooh.
Maybe something that's just like
win-win-win right there.
Yeah, and just go Highway 1, top to bottom.
Do this.
Run the PCH.
Yeah.
Open.
That would be pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, I feel like it would have to be a convertible.
Yeah.
If you do it like a drop top DB7 with a manual, or it's got to be a manual transmission.
A little blue for my blood, but maybe a Z3 or a Miata.
You could probably get one that's in pretty good shape for like 30. I mean, it's still blue for my blood, but because I would have to sell all the fun parts I have for it. But like
that's like 30 project cars.
968 convertible.
Oh.
You can go
Boxster
and coupe or M Roadster, or just even just a Z3 3.0 would be fun. Boxster. Yeah. A cheap Boxster. Other things that I might have a line on.
Nothing risky about that.
No. How about did they make a convertible Beretta? I know you can get a Cavalier Z24.
That would be epic.
That'd be disastrous.
I mean, it would be
so like the absolute chassis flex in that for the entire ride. I feel like it gets so old so quick.
Yeah, it would be awesome. It would be
It'd be a comedy of errors.
How about the Geometra convertible?
Dude, oversteer upon or understeer upon like. I feel like you DB the tires within the first like.
Well, dude,
20 miles.
Fun fact.
Yes.
What's the Pontiac version called? Firefly. Yes.
But only in Canada, right?
Right. Someone has one legally imported to California. Oh. Your blue, competition blue, with a manual for sale right now for like 5,000 something.
We're gonna have to take this off here, ladies and gentlemen.
Just wanted to let you know that.
Oh boy.
Pontiac Firefly. It's all badged Pontiac Firefly. It's legit, but it's legit like imported.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
things
awesome.
Things I didn't know I wanted when I woke up this morning.
I know you did. That'd be kind of fun, kind of just to do it in that. Like, who's done that? Who's done route one?
It's fun on paper, but maybe not fun on execution.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's more of an adventure. It would take us forever because the top speed is what, 55 effectively.
Well, slower than that on the one. You're not pushing that. Like you're hitting every like speed limited turn where they like give you a heads up and it's like 20 miles an hour. You're doing that at 20 miles.
Oh yeah. Well, that was my favorite thing when I was reviewing yours. I was thinking because I was like drop top, man. Yeah. I was like, I'm in a fucking Miata. And every time I hit a corner, I was like, I am not in a Miata.
No, it's just Plow City.
Yeah.
And, like,
Plow City.
Extreme cowl shape.
And like the Miata has more than double the horsepower.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
That's a car that's people say like the slow car fast car slow. That car is best enjoyed slow car slow.
Right. Yeah, around town, putting around.
Just around town, metro, like it lives by its name.
The competition blue with a Pontiac badge. Think about it.
Boy.
I know.
Boy.
I forgot to mention that.
They didn't make those as convertible, did they? The Firefly.
It is a convertible.
It's a convertible.
Dude. Yes.
Oh my.
Manual.
Oh. Boy. Okay. Well.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
Oof.
Yeah, I know.
Other things.
We'll be looking at that.
Besides the competition blue Firefly that I don't necessarily want to take this one down PCH. Yeah. Well, I mean, what is the ultimate? I guess it depends. If you're flying solo, it's different.
Yeah, motorcycle. Would be
Yeah. I guess.
If you're solo.
I guess. Yeah, you go out on like an
Adventure
old BMW R65 or something.
Honda
like that.
CBR or Honda CB.
Yeah, I think you want more of a touring bike, I think.
You strip them down, they're pretty nice.
One of the old Dakar Rally BMW bikes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, as a car, it's got to be convertible, right?
Gotta be, for the PCH, for sure.
Okay. Well, that's on the list too, and that's unorganized. That's like an organized thing.
That's something we can do very easily.
Yeah, we could.
This guy should be pretty good soon.
It's funny, in my head, anytime I cook up any of this stuff in my head, I always feel like I kind of got like, doing something like that, it would be very difficult to take the kid or kids.
No, it'd be like two adults, like do it in a week.
Yeah, a week. But that's like I feel like that's a really like a snail's pace.
Not really. A week there and back. You have to come home.
Sure.
Well, if we survive.
Where are we going?
If we survive.
Top. Not to ask you top or bottom, but like, are we going the northern route? Like, are we going from here to like Canada and back? Or are we going here to San Diego and back?
We go south. We'd be bottom bears.
Yeah, we could. we barely make it, but I think we can do that. But that's like, you can, if you wanted to, you can do day there and day back. Not that
No way. Dude, that's
San Diego?
on the piece, so we're only doing PCH. Though.
Yeah, if you get up like coffee run status 6 a.m. and huss it down there, you get there at 10 o'clock.
That's
I would not want to.
Yeah, you're not stopping.
That's not how you do
That's
that.
pushing. Yeah, no,
I think you could do 2 days.
Like a work
2 days
week.
back.
I'm talking like leaving on Monday, coming on Friday.
Okay. Then like calendar.
No.
Calendar week.
What do you think?
We should do it.
You know, Frank, I don't think you worship at the Church of Miata yet, but I think if you went on a road trip with a well-sorted one, I think you'd be on board. You'd be like, oh, Lord, how am I missing this? I can convert him.
It might be. And see, that would be the rub. Is you take the Miata and I knock my mom's S2000 on mothballs.
Oh boy.
Which is also in not Suzuka blue, Laguna Blue Pearl.
Okay.
Which is about as close to this blue as you can get to a metallic.
Mariner blue.
Yeah, and that would be it'd be far less interesting without co-pilots.
Yeah.
Unless we went kids as co-pilots, which I don't know. That's a long. Yeah, that's a
long adventure.
That's a long haul. After hour 3, you'd be like, "Are we done yet?"
I'm like, can we put the nuts up?
Unrealistically sunburned.
Yeah.
Interesting. Things to consider.
Yeah.
That's one. A PCH run. We gotta go.
Or we could do them with both cars and see which one we prefer.
Oh boy.
Back to back compare. Do it in 3 days or 2.5 days. Come back, switch cars, hit it again.
There you go. Hit it again.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Back-to-back comparison.
Yeah.
No one's ever done that.
Yeah.
S2000 versus 1.6 liter Miata. I think we know where the power lies. But
the power lies. Yeah. I mean, there's a certain Spartanage.
Yeah.
With this, I mean, not that the S2000 is like totally like luxury out.
Way more modern. I mean, at least a decade.
For sure.
But your mom's is stock. This has a good
Bonus
suspension
stock.
mods.
Yeah.
This is a little lighter. Probably.
I like how we're just talking about like just going like driving my mom's car.
It's
Mom, let me off.
I mean, maybe I could just take it with your mom. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know. Am I flashing back to my birth again?
Are you my dad?
Exactly.
Okay.
You're not my real dad.
I think we.
Do you have any other like adventure? I've never won for the cannonball run.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got to average like 182 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Competitive. Like I'd like to do I've never done a proper cross country drive.
But I'd want to stop, right? I'd want to stop. I get the idea, and I love that they did. I know it's probably been broken a few times since, but I loved it when they did it with like I think Ed Bullion and those guys did it with the Mercedes. They made it look like an Accord.
Yeah.
I think that's
the
super
partial
cool.
wrap over the back. It was like an E55 or 63.
63, I believe.
Yeah,
because it kind of looks like an Accord.
Yeah, and they had like the whole trunk with basically a fuel tank.
Right. So that's kind of cool, but not my cup of tea. But boy, I think we could talk about this stuff for forever in a day. How about I quiz you?
Come at me, bro.
I'm gonna come at you.
You should.
Come at you with something challenging here. I know you tried
to.
You tried to get me with a some kind of vague Toyota product last time. That was pretty good.
It was a layup. You grabbed it.
That's because we like weird shit. You know?
That's true.
So I'm hoping this one's a layup for you.
Oh boy.
And if not, I'm prepared to fully help my friend get to here. So
maybe I'll consult the 8-ball.
Yeah, you can. I think that's in play. So what we do is we read an 80s or 90s or early 2000s automotive print ads, so something that ran in a magazine. These were physical forms of the internet before.
That's right, true. And it was on something called Papper, I believe.
Papier.
Yeah,
I can't something like that. Physical internet.
It's of wood.
Anyway, so we read it. We omit anything that clearly gives it away. My friend Frank has 3 guesses, and only 3 guesses to guess the car that I'm talking about. All right, what do we got?
Come at me, bro.
Ready? Boom. So this one, the catch line across the top is a 2-page ad, which we love.
Ooh.
It shows a blue car, wheels at opposite lock, sliding, red tire tracks behind it, saying, "Paint the town red."
Ooh, okay.
You ready for this?
I wonder if that's like, if that is a hint in and of itself.
It's about menstruation.
Oh, it should be. But I think performance vehicles.
Yeah, that's what I think. So what color best describes your current car? If it's something in a shade of dull gray, 50 shades of it, we suggest the sporty new blank. Ooh. With a powerful dual overhead cam engine. Okay. Here's your big giveaway. Handling. Tuned by the great racing engineers of Lotus.
Oh no! Okay.
It's a compact you can actually love driving.
Okay.
At a price that, unlike its competition,
okay,
doesn't require massive amounts of green. They're talking about marijuana, I believe.
They are, yeah. I only purchase vehicles with sativa.
Yes, of course. For a free brochure, call. I'm not going to give you the number because I know you memorize those numbers.
I do, yeah.
Introducing the blank. What are we talking about, Frank? Not a lot of technical details, but what do you got for me?
So dual overhead cam. Boom.
Go ahead and say that handling thing because I know that.
Well, it's handling by Lotus, which is the deal, which is really kind of nails it down to my friend Joe Isuzu.
Yeah, he never lied.
No, not once. Not once. I wonder what that guy's up to. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
He shed his mortal coil.
Hopefully still with us.
Exactly. Driving a clapped out iMark.
How cool.
So the ones I got handling by Lotus here stateside that had a dual overhead cam. They did an Isuzu Stylus. And they did the Isuzu Impulse.
Same car, 4-door, 2-door configuration pretty much.
I think if it was an RS, they would have dropped all-wheel drive, turbo, some other fun stuff. And that's assuming this is Isuzu. Now, here's the thing. Isuzu's whatever weird Pac-Man logo thing, I believe was red. which would do the paint the town red. I think there's a little tie in there, and they're calling it a compact. I'm gonna go, and this isn't, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's a captive import, maybe I don't think Geo went down this road, and I don't think it's a Geo product. I'm gonna say, I don't think you'd come at me with the Impulse. I'm thinking it's a Stylus. Is it an Isuzu Stylus?
Introducing the $11,299 Stylus. You got it, man.
Yes.
Woo.
Well, the handling by Lotus is kind of like it.
That's the big giveaway.
Those are the only two cars I think that I can remember that had that here domestically. I think they probably had that badge in other parts of the country.
I know some other cars had handling done by Lotus, but they didn't put the
badge, and they didn't tout it because they didn't want. No, this Magic, we crafted this in house.
God, wasn't that? Yeah, some GM products did that. Some GM
products. I believe the Mark II Supra and the Celica of that era with the independent rear suspension was a Lotus design.
Oh, okay.
Semi-trailing arm rear suspension. I don't know for sure, but I think maybe the first gen MR2.
I could see that.
Because some of those Lotus, I think Toyota owned a percentage, and maybe still does, like 10%. They had a non-controlling stake in Lotus. Well, they've got a long tradition of working back and forth and sharing expertise in drivetrains and things like that.
Yeah, Lotus is like, I mean, Isuzu is kind of underhandedly helped a lot of Japanese companies. Like we talked about the SLX, which was the Isuzu Trooper, and that's an accurate Honda. That's like a big car company.
Yeah,
like using Isuzu. So I think that's what they were. They were there to pump people up. But man, you killed it. And I looked at an Impulse not too long ago, which is like the two-door version with that same engine.
Yeah, the Geo Storm by another name.
Yeah, it's 130 horsepower. The Storm GSI.
Those are GS and GSI, right?
Yeah, the GSI had that engine. So not all Storms came with the 1.6 dual overhead cam, but
they had an 8-valve one, I think, right?
Yeah. So and it was like way. I think it was a single overhead cam too, but this is the dual overhead cam. 130 horsepower on the 1.6, which is screaming for the early 90s.
Yeah.
Loved it. I loved just for the badge, the price of entry. Yeah. There was a Stylus.
The Stylus are cool.
Yeah, the Stylus was I found a Stylus at a Walmart, completely stock. You know, had blankets in there, like a old cat lady car.
Yeah.
And I left my number on that car. It must have been someone that worked at that Walmart like 3 times and never got a call back.
Dang.
And there's nothing else I could do. I mean, really good stickers. Like, I absolutely love your car. I'll pay you way more than you think it's worth. Manual too, because most of them are autos.
Yeah.
And it's just never connected. Never worked out.
What a name for a car. Stylus.
And Impulse. Pretty cool names.
I think Impulse is good. Stylus, I mean, maybe then it was different than now. Stylus, I think like an
electronic pen.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting.
Killed it.
Golf team!
Let's celebrate with some hard drugs, my friend.
Ooh, it's time for PCP. I think we've discussed this before. Do we still not know what PCP stands for? Like the drug?
No, it's a scientific,
Yeah.
Cock, penis.
I don't think that's what it is.
Penis,
I'm not for sure. I'm not a scientist.
Well, we're gonna assume, but for us, it's Project Car Progress.
Sure. Yes. Project Car Progress.
Have you ingested any good PCP lately?
I have. You want me to bring the goods to this party? You want me to tell you what's going on in my neck of the woods?
Yes, Holden at this party?
It is. Not a Holden. I wish I bought a Holden. An Arrow or something. A Ute. So I know we've been kind of going back and forth the trials and tribulations of my wife's daily driver and how my life. I started to get long in the tooth, which is the 04 RX 330, 244,000 miles and change.
Old leaky.
Yeah, we discussed how over winter break, big storm, rainwater got in, made it a little swampy and mildewy. Well, there's been a development. The old insurance company decided to deem it a total loss.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Really?
So you want to play the what does that car? What is the approximate value of that car in total? Let's just after my deductible.
Year and mileage.
2004 RX 330 all-wheel drive, 244,000 miles. Run-of-the-mill condition.
Yep.
I'm
ready.
Well optioned.
I'm already ready to shoot.
Shoot.
6. Okay.
So the settlement amount, which is how much the dollar amount on the check.
Yeah.
after subtracting a $500, add sales tax,
deductible.
but subtract a $500 deductible, nearly $8,800.
Okay.
And they take the car away.
Wow.
It disappears into the night.
Yeah.
Or I can retain the salvage of the vehicle. I keep it as is. They cut me a check. That check would have been about $5,500.
Okay.
So it would have been a delta of about $3,300.
Sure, but you have a vehicle still.
And I keep the vehicle. I then have to, in order to get a new title with a branded salvage title, I have to take it to have a brake and lamp inspection and a VIN verification done.
Okay.
Which isn't moving mountains. It should be okay. I haven't checked to make sure because those have the LED rear center mount stoplight. And if a single LED is burnt out, that would fit technically.
Are you serious? Well, that's probably the case because those did like to burn out.
They did like to burn out, and the car's got 245,000 miles on it. So
it's safe bet.
You probably one of my, so I might have to replace that. I don't know though, it might be okay.
They probably
other taillights are not LED, they're incandescent.
Yeah.
I had just put front tires and brakes on it. It's got a full tank of gas in it, unfortunately.
Which matters today.
It's $100 right there. I just put a new battery in it. However, it's the same battery as my van, so I can swap those over and keep the brand new, nice AGM battery.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
A couple $100.
Yeah, it was $200. Yeah. So I said, okay, well, let me go look, because my wife, she wants and has absolutely certainly earned a proper new modern vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay. Anytime we go anywhere, we generally take her car just because it's the more modern, comfortable vehicle, and that's what we do, and which is great. So I have a vested interest in this too. Okay.
Pile in the 924, everybody.
Exactly.
Bring your jump pack. Bring your tools.
Everything. Yeah.
Bring your fluids.
Give obscure Volkswagen Audi tools that you can't find.
Right.
So I was looking at she kind of wants, her commute is 18 miles each way.
Okay, so that's not bad.
It's not bad. So there are some plug-in hybrids or that would cover that and not burn any fuel.
Yeah.
And there's some we can do like an EV.
Yeah.
You said definitely can't.
Oh.
They don't exist. Like you go to a dealership.
Yeah.
They don't exist. I swung past the Hyundai dealership to see if I can get throw my hat in the ring for like an Nero. Either a plug-in Nero, which I don't love. Or they got the new the Kia EV6 and the Ioniq 5. They're EV.
They're upcharging quite a bit on that stuff though.
Yeah, they're charging like 10
DMR,
above sticker.
Dealer markups.
ADM, additional
ADM.
dealer markup. Okay. And they can't get them. They don't even take orders. They're like, we have 2 new cars on the entire lot. And one was an Elantra N, which was actually kind of cool.
That's kind of cool.
What you would want.
Yeah.
And the other one was a Nero N.
Okay.
Or not Nero, sorry, the other one, the Kona N.
Oh, okay.
Had a Kona N, automatic.
A little smaller, but...
And they had an Elantra N with a manual.
Definitely small.
Both of them had $10,000 ADM on top. Jesus, and those are the only new cars they took that they had there. And they said, they're like, not only are we not taking orders for cars, if we get them, it's a minimum 10,000 ADM. And we literally get people that'll come in and sit in our lobby knowing that they talk to someone at corporate and that a truck is going to deliver us cars, and it rolls off the truck and it gets sold before we can even check it in. Wow. And people just show up waiting. It's like, we can't, I don't even know. He's he's like 80% of them are already sold before they get here, and then once they're here, they're not here for a day, and that's with people paying 10 over.
Well, so the used car market isn't any prettier. Even a Prius that was $4,000 is now $8,000.
Yes. So I was looking at that. I was looking at maybe doing a Polestar 2, because they won't do any ADM, because they're like Tesla. Buy from a store.
Yeah.
And so I could have gotten one of those spec the way I want it for high 50s, which is more than I want to stomach.
Yeah.
But even with those, an Ioniq 5.
Those are actually pretty pricey when you auction them up.
Yeah, they're 60. And then you pay 10 ADM. Not to mention the sales tax on top of that.
The depreciation tax.
And then you pay all kinds of other stuff. And who knows what depreciation on an EV is going to be.
Horrible. It's going to be horrible.
It could be nothing. It could be disastrous.
Yeah.
And so I asked them, I was like, hey, what's a lease on one of these? So I got probably $1,400 a month. I'm like,
get out of here.
There's 0% chance I'm going to do that. So Polestar actually had really good lease options. So I can do like a 3-year lease with putting basically that insurance check down at like $8,800. I did $9,000 down, and I'd be able to get one for under $500 a month.
Okay.
Which is not unreasonable, and that's with like all the options I would want. Very well optioned out car.
Pretty good.
Great.
A lot of money though.
Still a lot of money.
Yeah.
But hey, you know.
Right, 50-something K, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun things I can put
There
in.
are a lot of fun things. It was not even 50 something, like 59.9, like basically 60K. But on a lease, like it could have made sense. While we were trying to juggle that and then figure, so I was mostly going to say, let's probably not do that. Let's just hang on to the Lexus, retain it, you know, absorb the $3,300 delta, but keep driving it. It smells a little musty inside, but not going to kill us.
It's not worse.
Yeah, and so keep driving the automotive Dutch oven until the market calms down and we can get something a little nicer. And then literally the next day, I was helping out on my car donation client and enrolled in an immaculate 2007 Toyota Highlander hybrid.
Ooh.
91,000 miles.
Not bad.
It's incredibly low.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's like 150,000 fewer miles
The most.
than the Lexus.
Yeah, those
Very
hybrids
similar.
rack them up too.
Yeah, and it's very similar to the Lexus, and it's just like you can eat off the engine bay.
Oh.
I mean, they're not leaking a drop of anything.
Boy.
So long story short is, I'm purchasing that Highlander
Cool.
for $9,000
Jeez, man.
and taking the $8,800 check from insurance. So I'm basically even trade
Eating free.
just even trade. Like I hand you this keys and you hand me those keys. I'm trading the 04 RX pure gas all-wheel drive for the Highlander. Every single option on the Highlander except for factory nav. So it's the E all-wheel drive hybrid. Timing belt was done at 81,000 miles.
Still golden.
The tires are old. I'm gonna put tires on it. The tires are date coded. They don't look that bad, but they're date coded 2010. So they're past the prime.
Gotta get them out.
So I've got tires on order, and it has the factory CD player tape deck, JBL sound system.
They're pretty nice.
But so I'm gonna spend some coin and just get a modern Bluetooth, Apple Car, all that with the back. I'm gonna put a backup camera in it.
Hell yeah.
And all of that installed out the door. Is gonna be another, just over $1,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
For all that installed, everything, and that's
Dude,
like
sweet.
with the adapter to like use the original steering wheel controls for the stereo.
Heck yeah.
And with like Alexa, so you can be like, Alexa, I'm lost. Like, where is the golf club or wherever, and they'll get you there. So
sweet, man.
Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked on that. So that is one thing that's been on the needing progress list for quite some time. Check it off the list.
Nice. It always feels good to check off the list.
It does. What's on your list? Is it Mercury?
So my PCB, no, it's
Mercury, okay.
it's been BMW wheels.
Oh boy.
So
which one? This one?
Yeah, our E30 that's
I'm touching right now?
in the background that we're laying some love on. It's getting a lot of love lately, guys.
Yes.
So the wheels, these were painted from BMW from the factory for all you E30 fanatics out there, and they tend to get chewed up, dirt, dust, road debris. They tend to get eaten up pretty good. The center caps on this model were completely worn off, faded into obscurity. You know what I did, buddy?
What'd you do?
We got curb rash. You're gonna get curb rash on a car this old. So I took care of the curb rash. I fresh coated paint, and these are pretty challenging. These are the bottle cap wheels, the 14-inch wheels, which are super original, super hard to come by.
Yeah.
So fully restored them. Fresh paint, no curb rash, new center cap decals, OEM BMW. We're not cutting any corners
With the
here.
brand new fresh tires that have like under 5 miles on them.
Yeah, fresh tires. I mean, it just looks gorgeous, and it's gonna drive. It's gonna look good, and those are the big things, man. When I when I do restorations, I don't just flip cars in here. I do like the aesthetic stuff too, and there's something just putting that fresh paint. These will look good for another 10, 20 years.
Yeah,
I mean, and then it just ups the value, ups how the car looks. And it's still as original as it ever was because these were just painted wheels from the factory.
Yeah.
So it looks gorgeous. It looks great. It just brings a lot more value to the vehicle. And I'm super pumped. It took like 2 full days. It's a really...
Because you do all that labor and then just like spray it and then let it sit.
Yeah, and just actually grinding out the curb rash is super time consuming and sanding.
Because you have to take your... If you want to do it and like not butcher it, like... You can't just like spend...
Yeah, these aluminum wheels are very soft. You can get into them with a Dremel and sand them down pretty easily. So, and the fact that these are the Coke bottle ones, there's so many angles and they're so small. So you're sanding every, you know, every surface, right? And even getting the spray paint in there. I have a project wheel thing I follow every time where I do this rotation. I do 90-degree rotations of the wheel. I never lay a wheel down. I stand it up when I paint, and I rotate 90 degrees. I use the tire, the valve stem to kind of mark the degree I'm going at. So I do make sure I get every angle, especially with intricate wheels like this, and they came out great. And super happy, man. So yeah, it's an investment of time, and it takes money because you're sanding, priming, painting. All the materials, but yeah, it looks gorgeous. So that was my PCP, was restoring 4 wheels on an E30 BMW.
Woo! And you just want to start all over and do wheels on the next one, right?
I mean,
jump right into doing more wheels.
I will. I do them all the time. It's like timing belts for me, right? It's like, God damn it.
Yes.
No one does their timing belts.
You know what's funny? When I was looking at that Highlander, I'm like, because I had 91,000 miles and I popped the hood and I can't find a timing belt sticker anywhere.
Due for it.
I was just like, I start calling around, right? And I'm getting quotes all over the map. One place called,
I bet 1,200.
Dude, I had one place quote me 1,600. I had one place quote the dealership was like, oh, it's like $400. I'm like, what? I was like, bro, really? Because I set up with the 90,000 mile service. Like, that was like $400. I was like, on this it's like a major, right? Like it's all this. It's like, oh, okay, that's like 1,850. I was like, okay, cool.
That sounds real. Yeah.
And then talk to another shop. They're like, well, it's going to be $1,600 for just timing belt and water pump, but to do the full 90 with all the fluids and stuff, it's $2,250. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
no boy. And then I run a Carfax on it, and I saw 81,000 miles. It just said water pump replaced. I was like, there's no way they did just a water pump without the timing belt. So I called the shop, and they're like, oh yeah, we did timing belt, water pump, thermostat, huge. We did all this stuff at 91,000 or 81,000 miles, and now it has 91 on it. But before I figured out any of that, I was just like, well, if I'm gonna give some idiot like $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 to do it, I might as well give this idiot $1,400, $1,500, $1,600. I was like, what if Chadwick would want to do the timing belt? I'd rather line his pockets than some other guy down the road. Yeah, I know you do it right anyways.
Yeah, I do.
But yeah, because I don't have the time or energy to do a timing belt on that car. Especially my wife would be like, I need to drive it tomorrow because insurance is taking my car.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on that note, where I love to do timing belts, I think we're going to close the door on this beautiful.
We should. Yeah, we should slam the mechanic's door here.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
Where can we find you online, Frank? If we want to follow your endeavors and your your wonderful
you
work.
definitely shouldn't do that. But if you were to stumble into my neck of the woods, it would be at the Photographer's Garage. That's on the Gram and the YouTube. We collectively, with regards to this talking about nonsense thing, is going to be another pointless automotive podcast. The pointless is underlined. Or at Instagram at APA Podcast.
That's right.
And what about you? Where can the masses find you?
Yeah, you can find me in my crazy obsessive project work at Auto Obsessive Garage, and that's on the tubes and the grams.
The tubes and the grams.
So yeah, absolutely, man. Well,
thanks for riding along. Catch us next week, which will be, I think, episode 20. If we're staying in there. Yeah. Come hang out next time. Thanks for tagging along on this one.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Goodbye.